Hello everybody, hope you're having a wonderful day today. I want to share with you guys something that was sent to me by HX Outdoor. Sent to me for free. Obviously I'm going to do my best to be as harsh and honest with you guys as possible. Shouldn't be too difficult because based off my prior experience with this company, they have very questionable quality control. At this point in time, content is content. If it's good or bad, I'll take it either way just to show you guys what to look to or what to stay away from. This is what it looks like. This little hard shell case. This is like something that hangs on like a shelf or something. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. You get a little cloth right here, which is nice. A little high quality microfiber cloth. It actually feels really nice, actually. And here is the knife. So let's go ahead and pull this guy out. Wow, this thing is just covered in juice. The main reason why I said yes to this was it has a interesting locking mechanism that I've seen it before. I don't 100% know how it works, nor have I interacted with this locking mechanism before. Giving you guys my first real world impressions on what this thing is. Ultra deep carry clip, look at that, that's cool. That's nice and slim looking, you know, a little bit of rise to the ramp to get flat clip inset into the scales. And hey, look at that, you get a little pop of color right there. You know, the filler tab, that's cool that, you know, you also got a filler tab there, that's nice. Those look to be like T6 as well as T6 body screws. A little pop of color, like the pivot collars, there you go. So it's perfectly centered. Let's see how this thing feels. No jimping on the flipper tab. That's immediately already a miss. Not bad. That actually felt kind of solid. Okay. All right. This is D2 on it. A little bit of, not gunk, but it's just more excess oil on the blade. But it's a good looking blade. I mean, it's nice and utilitarian oriented, you know, a little sheep's footy kind of blade shape here. And does this thing have, oh man. This thing already has rolls from the factory. Not rolls like fat rolls, I'm talking like actually the edge itself. I've been sharpening knives for close to 8 years now, and that's not something anybody should be okay with seeing on a brand new knife. There is actually one dent and one little roll. I can't say that that's because it's hitting anything. That's just how it's coming from the factory. So to disengage, I think I pull out that way, pull back. That does not feel natural at all. That's very weird. Can I pull back and does it release? No. Okay. And then with just like the one thumb, I guess you can do it. So to interact with this knife, flipper tab with no jimping, and then with your thumb you can just push back and it will come down just like that. There's no way to reverse flick or do anything else with any other way of interaction. Left-handed, it should be exactly the same as you can see here with my left hand. I mean, anybody out there could honestly get used to it. It's just not how a typical access lock feels. If I can find one here, for example, here's one, Olaton's G052, this big honking thing. Yeah, you pull straight down with the Omega springs and the blade comes crashing down. This is very, very different because it looks kind of like how you'd interact with an Omega spring or a crossbar locking style knife, but you push out that way, this way over here. So you pull, let's see if I could demonstrate by holding it. So yeah, pull and then the blade should come down. Spine whack test, I mean, it's solid. So you guys just saw me demonstrate smacking this thing on my plastic table where I do all my recording and stuff, but couple days later, I noticed I started developing some up and down play. And so I have yet to take this apart and do any tinkering and tuning like I usually like to do. But this is one of those locking mechanisms that if you do repeated tapping motion, it will eventually disengage. But if you give it like just general hits on the spine, further back over here, it's fine. Closer to the tip, it's very likely to disengage. So let's demonstrate that here. There you go. Like every third tap or whatever disengages. There it goes. Yeah, at this point it's not taking much. But again, that's one thing where going back to the flipper tie without any jimping, it works if you push button it. It's not so much of a light switch. I mean, you can, it's so awkward. And this is small, this is compact. I'm not sure if this thing was classified as a mini, but I did see something very similar on their product page. And I'll, again, link everything down below. But they had something that looked much larger than this. But even then, I wear large to extra large size gloves. And you know what? That's actually not too bad in hand. I have my glove over here. And we can, let's put this thing away before I stab myself. Why not, you know, go ahead and see how this thing looks wearing some gloves, just cause. Easy to use, easy to operate. Choking up on this thing. That forward finger choil is very large, very, very roomy, and I absolutely enjoy that the plunge grind is very well executed. It's all the way back over here, so you have, you know, essentially years of life out of this blade, which, sure, I'm upset that the blade isn't damn near perfect, because we all know that within this price point, at this point in time, there are so many other companies that can get the blade without any major chips or rolls. Sure, they may, you know, slick them and overstrop, but I'd rather have that than essentially a damaged edge. I consider this to be a damaged edge from the factory. So we're gonna go down, I'll take the weight, do a couple size comparisons, as well as testing the factory edge, and hopefully by showing off the factory edge with some printer paper, I will be able to better demonstrate the areas that I'm seeing that maybe I can't show that well through camera. So this is what this little guy looks like. This is what my carry was today. The Sencut Glide Strike here. Love this wonderful full-size plus knife right here. It's just such a great buy. Let's do some common size comparisons that I think would be the same size range. Starting off, we have here is the Native 5 Lightweight by Spyderco. Pyrite Light CJRB, a little bit longer, not by much. Miguron Baker right here, a little bit longer, again, not by much. The amount of usable blade length, you get a little bit more here on the Baker. Civivi Vision FG, definitely a lot lengthier. Is the Mini Recon 1, and I actually, because I finally got paid, I finally have a full-size Recon 1 on the way, so you guys will be seeing one of those very, very soon here on the channel. Alright, so that should be good for size comparison. Let us do the weight. 3.9, 4 ounces. Okay, there we go. That's, you know, kind of makes sense. This thing does feel a little dense, but we do have, you know, full thickness G10. I don't think there was any extra effort made for actual weight relieving. But for what this thing costs, if I didn't already mention, this thing is sub $50. I think it's actually around like 35 bucks or just under 40 bucks, something like that. On the surface, it's actually kind of nice. So I've yet to take it apart and do really much else with it, but we're gonna do a factory edge test here. Oh, right there, that's where that roll was. But besides that, that's nice. Oh yeah. You know what? That's pretty good. Wow. Okay, I'm actually super impressed. And I'm staying back here because the roll actually occurs. So the little chip is right there. And the roll is, where is it? Was it actually a roll or was it a burr? I don't know now. Because now it's kind of hard to tell. You know what? That could have actually been... No, I could still feel it. Like, if I go like this, I could still feel like a little bit of... So, we'll chalk it up to a burr. I still think it's a roll because it looked like it was actually like indented, you know, further past the rest of the edge, like being in line with the rest of the edge. And I did feel it here as it snagged on the paper, so smooth, right about there. Yeah, so that's a good demonstration of where that's happening again. So right there, that little fuzzy, that little tear out right there, that was caused by the roll / burr. So, but the surrounding edge is actually super impressive. And see how it doesn't stay in the cut and it does one of those numbers. So staying back here towards the heel where it's consistently sharpened, that is a very impressive edge for how affordable this thing is. Again, I don't like the flipper tab. I think it's just kind of awkward because I want to be able to slam this thing shut without having the flipper tab hit my finger or anything else. And it is working against some pretty significant spring tension here. So the spring tension starts about here. Like, I really gotta like force it down, but it is smooth. Like it's running on bearings. Like I'm not holding it down on anything. Yeah, all right, that's not too bad. So again, I don't want this video to be too long. If you're interested in seeing this thing taken apart, I'll do my sharpening, put a sick edge on this. I have so much cardboard waiting for new knives to shred them up. But you know what? From this company, I'm actually excited to tear this thing apart and actually get into it and share my findings with you guys. So cool. At least I got something to look forward to this next week. So with that being said, I want to give a thanks to HX Outdoors for entrusting me and, you know, showing this thing off on behalf of the company. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing as I put more videos and content coming you guys this way. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.